Our New Testament lesson this morning, 1562. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Let us pray. Almighty God, may my words be in keeping with your holy word, and may our hearts and minds be open to the working of your Holy Spirit, that hearing your word we would understand it, and understanding it we would seek to do it. In the name of the Christ. Amen. The problem must have been working on Jethro. Jethro is Moses' father-in-law. Earlier in the chapter, Jethro has been impressed by all the work that the people have done, but particularly all the work that Moses was doing. And he was concerned that Moses was, as we would say, burning out. He took his son-in-law aside and convinced him to delegate some of the responsibilities while still having oversight over those qualified men he appointed. And so Moses agreed. Jethro must have felt good about what he accomplished. And behind the scenes, Moses' wife Zipporah must have been relieved, no doubt about it. I bet she worried that Moses would work himself to death, as we sometimes say. And also, Jethro didn't want his daughter to become a widow. There comes a time when interventions, I guess, are important, like the one we just heard about. It's not a new thing at all. There comes a time when all of us need to take a break, and others around us can encourage us to do that, and when they're successful, everybody's happy. You know, that's what I've been hearing. Plans are being made, as the title of the sermon suggests, plans about your taking a break. I've heard some of you talk about vacations you've recently taken. Others are planning the ones that are approaching, while still others, less fortunate, are just hoping or aching for one. But all of us, in short, know that we need one. It makes a difference. And so we talked this morning about vacations with Ralph and with Grace and her family. Vacation, we use the word so casually, without giving any thought about what it really means as a word. It means to vacate, to empty, get rid of for the time being our normal pattern, and replace it with something that's different, something that offers relief, relaxation, a change of pace. Ideally, it means our alarm clocks are going to have a rest and not be governed by the normal responsibilities that are dictated to us and make the patterns of our lives. Maybe a change of scenery. That's always welcome. It may be catching up on the relationships that we've shortchanged because we've been going too hard, like Moses. Time to reestablish those relationships. Pay attention to those we may have neglected or not given an even chance to be with us. And so it seems to me that I used to be able to count on one hand or so, maybe two, all the jobs and occupations that were 24/7, called out all hours, are expected to be available all the time. You know, my list used to include things like law enforcement officers and firefighters and those in the military and doctors and, yeah, even clergy. But there's been a huge increase in those 24/7 jobs. More and more. More and more I hear people saying that because their companies expect that of them, they have to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No wonder there's a burnout. No wonder there's a need to vacate, to empty that pattern, at least for a break. And it's not just those who work outside the house, right? Those who work inside the house, they have a lot of burden on them too. They need a break. and especially those who work outside the house and inside the house 24/7. Yeah. Well, often vacations involve recreation. Now that's another word. Too often we assume that recreation merely means exercise or physical activity, but that's not the case. Look at the word closely. It means to recreate. Recreate that which is lost. Recreate those things that we did when we were at our very best. Sometimes it means recovering a renewed focus of who we are, why we're here. Sometimes it means taking that deep breath that restores our patient side, which has taken some lumps. Well, whatever it is, we who are worn out need to be repaired through a time of recreation. That's what it's all about. Also, vacations also in some areas are called holidays. Well, there's another word for it. It really means holy day. That brings God into the picture, doesn't it? That plays a role in our vacations. It's lost the original punch, though. The fact is that it marks time given to us. In today's sermon, I'm going to encourage you to have a Christian vacation. I can almost hear someone in the congregation whispering to wife, "Oh my God, he wants us to go to a monastery." Well, let me assure you that's not what it's all about. What I do have in mind, by the way, is a subtle angle to our vacation times. In our brief and very significant New Testament lesson from Mark, we find the echo of Jesus saying this again and again. He's been intensely occupied, and so have they up to this point. And the crowd's still waiting to claim his time. And he knows that it's time for a break. He's, "Look, come on, come away with me. You need some rest. I do, and you do. So we can be who God intends us to be." Just a brief 2 phrases, 2 sentences, 2 verses in the Bible, and yet eloquent. Yeah, that's true. We need to get away, have a break, to have a rest, to be of any value to others. Okay, what's this Christian vacation look like? Well, I think it's simple. Simple things. It means looking at the scenery and actually noticing it for a change in a different setting. It means rethinking our Christian lives and reordering them. Or as the hymn that we're about to sing says, to reclothe us in our rightful minds. Get right-minded again. Because sometimes we stray. And to me it means putting all of our thoughts in order. In the Bible we read Jesus is the example, and Paul says, have this mind in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. In other words, take time to think of what Jesus taught us and what its implications are in our lives. Second guess Jesus and why he does stuff. It all goes back to the love he has for us, the caring he has for us. And so that caring is so obvious that he encourages his disciples. Not only do I need a rest, but you friends, you need a rest too. Come on. Let's take some time together. Well, a Christian vacation is unusual. Even though it's unusual on this side to see a bird flying around. I know there's a dove on the wall, right?
Cover your head.
Well, do you mind if we move on? Okay. Here he comes. Okay, well. So the fact is that on this Christian vacation, little things, simple things can make a huge difference. Besides our enjoying ourselves and being somewhere else. Simple prayers at sunset, at sunrise, and looking at creation saying, Lord, you did it well. Or maybe You're going to tell folks about this, I know.
He's looking for a vacation.
Looking for communion bread. Well, on this Christian occasion, which we almost ended a few minutes ago, I encourage you to look around you. Look around you with those who are with you. Reassess what they really mean to you. And take a moment to say, I appreciate you. Thank you for being in my life. And be reminded of what God has to say as you dip into the Bible and rediscover how much God loves you. And may you also find there reminders of what you should be when you return home after vacation. Not merely sunburned, but rested, refreshed, and ready to go. So I realize that in a word fairly new speaks to us. It's a new one. It's called a staycation. Staycation. That means staying home instead of going away. But even then, we can implement these things. We can involve ourselves with the same kinds of prayer and recognition of God's good gifts. We can have a Christian stay vacation as well. Yep. It means you're not packing your bags to go somewhere else. It means you're staying home. However, all the things I've suggested for a Christian vacation when we return to daily lives. So find ways. Find ways to take a break, like Jesus, and maintain your Christian life. Be renewed, be restored, be refreshed. And you know those stay vacations? They last all year long. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for your words of encouragement. You're a steward of us. You take care of us. Bless us. Use us well. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Our hymn is number 470, Dear Lord and Father of Mankind.